I was sitting in my living room at midnight, holding a small red velvet box in my hand. Inside was a 1-carat diamond ring that had cost me 3 months of salary. The apartment was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. My phone sat on the coffee table screen, still glowing from the call that had just ended. 7 days. That is all that stood between me and what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. But the woman I loved had just told me she could not do it. She could not marry me. Her ex-boyfriend had come back, and suddenly 3 years of us meant nothing. I felt hollow, like someone had reached inside my chest and pulled everything out. 7 days before I was supposed to say I do, my whole world shattered. But what happened next? Nobody saw that coming. Before I dive into what turned out to be the most painful yet transformative week of my life, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments below. If you have ever felt blindsided by someone you trusted, hit that like button. It helps me know I am not alone in this. And subscribe, because the way this story unfolds, you will want to stick around for every twist. Now let me take you back to where it all started to fall apart. My name is Byron. I am 28 years old, and I work as a software engineer at a tech startup in Portland, Oregon. 3 years ago, I met a woman named Sarah at a coffee shop downtown. She was a graphic designer with bright eyes and an infectious laugh. Our meeting was not exactly romantic. She accidentally spilled her latte all over my laptop. I remember her face turning red as she apologized over and over, grabbing napkins to try and save my keyboard. I could not help but laugh. Something about her genuine embarrassment was endearing. We ended up talking for 2 hours that afternoon. She told me about her design projects. I told her about the app I was developing. By the time we left, I had her number, and she had promised to pay for the laptop repair. Our relationship grew naturally. We spent evenings cooking dinner together in my small apartment. She would make pasta while I attempted to bake bread. Most of the time the bread turned out terrible, but she always ate it anyway and said it was perfect. On weekends, we would drive out to the mountains and hike for hours, talking about everything and nothing. She shared her dream of opening her own design studio one day. I told her I wanted to lead a development team and create something that mattered. We made plans. We talked about the future like it was a sure thing, like we had all the time in the world. 2 years into our relationship, I knew she was the one. I took her back to that same coffee shop where we first met. I had arranged with the owner to reserve our original table. When we sat down, I got on one knee and asked her to marry me. The ring box shook in my hands. Sarah started crying before I even finished the question. She said yes. People in the coffee shop clapped. It felt like a scene from a movie, the kind where everything works out perfectly. The next 6 months were a whirlwind of wedding planning. We chose a venue, a rustic barn just outside the city with string lights and wooden beams. Sarah tried on dozens of wedding dresses before finding the perfect one. It was simple and elegant, exactly her style. We sent out invitations to 150 guests. I ordered custom wedding bands in white gold. My parents flew up from Texas. Sarah's younger sister agreed to be her maid of honor. Every detail was falling into place. We even rented a new apartment together, bigger than my old one, with space for a home office where Sarah could work on her designs. The furniture was picked out. The boxes were packed. We were ready to start our life together the moment we returned from our honeymoon in Hawaii. Everything felt perfect. I remember thinking I was the luckiest man alive. I had a woman who loved me, a career I enjoyed, and a future that looked bright. But 2 weeks before the wedding, something changed. Sarah started acting distant. She would check her phone constantly, and then quickly put it away when I looked over. When I asked if everything was okay, she would smile and say she was just stressed about the wedding. I believed her. Wedding planning is stressful. I had heard that from everyone. So I gave her space and tried to help however I could. One evening, about 10 days before the wedding, I came home early from work. Sarah was on the couch texting someone. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen and she was smiling. But the moment she heard me open the door, she locked her phone and slipped it into her pocket. I asked who she was talking to. She said it was the florist, something about last-minute changes to the centerpieces. I nodded, but a small voice in the back of my mind whispered that something was not right. I pushed it away. I did not want to be that guy, the one who did not trust his fiancée. Sarah had never given me a reason to doubt her. Not until that night. A week before the wedding, Sarah canceled her makeup trial. She said she needed some time alone, that she was feeling overwhelmed. I told her I understood, even though I did not really. We were so close to the finish line. Why was she pulling away now? But I did not press. I thought maybe she was having cold feet, which I had read was normal. I figured she just needed time to process everything. I wish I had asked more questions. I wish I had pushed harder. But I did not. And that Friday night, 1 week before our wedding, my phone rang. I was in my apartment organizing my tuxedo and making sure everything was ready. When I saw Sarah's name on the screen, I smiled. Maybe she was calling to apologize for being distant. Maybe she wanted to talk about the wedding. I answered, and her voice was shaking. "Byron, I need to talk to you." I could hear the tears in her voice. My stomach dropped. "What is wrong? Are you okay?" There was a long pause. Then she said the words that broke me. "I cannot marry you. I am so sorry." I stood there in the middle of my living room, phone pressed to my ear, unable to process what she had just said. "What, Sarah? We are getting married in 7 days." "What are you talking about?" She took a breath and then she told me. "Marcus came back. He wants another chance, and I still have feelings for him." Marcus. Her ex-boyfriend. The guy who had broken up with her 3 years ago to chase a career opportunity in New York. The guy she had cried over for months before we met. He had come back, and suddenly everything we built together meant nothing. I asked her how long she had been talking to him. She admitted he had reached out a month ago. A month. She had been seeing him, texting him, meeting up with him for an entire month, and I had no idea. She said she thought she was over him, but when he showed up, all those old feelings came rushing back. She said she was sorry. She said she never meant to hurt me. But none of that changed the fact that she was choosing him. She was choosing her past over our future. I did not yell. I did not beg. I just stood there numb, and then I hung up the phone. I do not remember much about the rest of that night. I know I sat on the couch for hours, staring at the wall. The ring box was still on the coffee table, mocking me. My phone rang several times. Friends calling to check in, probably sensing something was wrong. I did not answer. I could not talk to anyone. I could not explain what had just happened because I did not understand it myself. How do you love someone for 3 years and then just walk away? A week before the wedding, how do you build a life with someone and then decide, actually, I want someone else? Around midnight, the numbness wore off and the pain hit me like a wave. I started crying. Not just tears, but the kind of crying that comes from deep in your chest, the kind that makes it hard to breathe. I had not cried like that since my father passed away 5 years ago. I cried for the future we would not have. I cried for the wedding that would not happen. I cried for the 3 years I had given to someone who did not choose me in the end. And I cried because I felt stupid. Stupid for not seeing it coming. Stupid for trusting her completely. Stupid for believing that love was enough. I remembered all the good times. The road trip we took to California last summer. The night she told me I was her forever. The promises we made to each other. Were any of them real, or was I just a placeholder, until Marcus decided he wanted her back? That thought hurt more than anything. The idea that I was never really her first choice. That I was just the safe option while she waited for something better. By the time the sun came up on Saturday morning, my eyes were swollen and my head was pounding. I felt like I had been hit by a truck. But I knew I had to start dealing with reality. I had to cancel a wedding. I picked up my phone and started making calls. First, the venue. The woman who answered was cheerful at first, asking if I needed to confirm any last-minute details. I told her there had been a change of plans. The wedding was off. She went silent for a moment, then offered her condolences. She said I could get back some of the deposit, but not all of it. Nearly $5,000 gone. Just like that. Next, I called the florist, then the photographer, then the caterer. Each call felt like a knife twisting in my chest. Every time I had to say the words "the wedding is off," it became more real. This was not a nightmare I could wake up from. This was my life now. By the time I finished all the calls, it was almost noon. I sat down on the couch exhausted and realized I still had to tell my parents. That call was the hardest one. "Mom, Dad, I need to tell you something." Sarah called it off. She is going back to her ex. My mother started crying immediately. My father was silent for a long moment, then said, "Son, I am so sorry. We will be there tomorrow." I told them not to come, that I would be okay, but I knew they would come anyway. That is what parents do. My best friend Derek showed up at my door later that afternoon with pizza and beer. He did not say much at first. He just sat with me. Finally, he spoke. Man, I do not know what to say. This is insane. You dodged a bullet, though. Anyone who can do this a week before the wedding does not deserve you. I knew Derek was right. Logically, I knew that. But it did not make it hurt any less. Around 8 that evening, my phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. Byron, I know you hate me. I hate myself too. But I had to be honest. I hope you can understand someday. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond. Part of me wanted to call her and beg her to change her mind. But I did not. I put the phone down and did not reply. What was there to say? Sunday morning, I woke up and looked at the ring box sitting on my dresser. I could not keep it. Every time I saw it, I would think of her. I would think of what we were supposed to have. I needed to get rid of it. I did a quick search online and found a reputable jeweler downtown who bought back used rings. The reviews were good. I made an appointment for Monday morning. When I walked into the shop, I was greeted by an older man with white hair. His name was Mr. Henderson. He looked like he had been doing this for decades. He examined the ring carefully under a magnifying glass. Beautiful ring. Must have cost you quite a bit. Why are you selling it? I did not sugarcoat it. My fiancée left me for her ex, a week before the wedding. Mr. Henderson nodded slowly, like he had heard this story before. I have seen this before. It is painful, but you are doing the right thing. Holding on to it will only hurt more. He offered me 75% of what I had originally paid. It was not great, but it was fair. I signed the paperwork and accepted the check. When I walked out of that store, I felt lighter. At least one burden was gone. 48 hours later on Wednesday, my phone started ringing non-stop. Sarah. One call. Then another. Then 5. Then 10. I did not pick up. Not once. Then the text started pouring in. Byron, please pick up. I need to talk to you. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. Marcus is not who I thought he was. He has not changed. Please, Byron. Can we talk? I miss you. I was wrong. I am so sorry. I want us back. I sat on my couch reading each message as it came in. Part of me wanted to believe her. Part of me wanted to think that maybe she really had made a mistake, that maybe we could fix this. But another part of me, the part that was tired and hurt and angry, knew better. Derek called me that afternoon. Dude, Sarah just texted me, asking for your address. She wants to come over. What do you want me to do? I told him to tell her I did not want to see her. That evening, around 7, there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole. Sarah. She was standing in the hallway, tears streaming down her face. Byron, I know you are in there. Please open the door. I made a terrible mistake. She knocked again and again. I could hear her crying, begging me to talk to her. I sat on the couch frozen. This was the moment. I could open that door. I could let her back in. Or I could choose myself. I did not open the door. I sat there listening to her knock, listening to her cry, and I did not move. After 20 minutes, the knocking stopped. I heard her footsteps walking away down the hall. My phone buzzed one more time. A final text from Sarah. I understand. I am sorry for everything. I knew in that moment that I had made the right decision. I loved her. Maybe I would always love her in some way. But I could not be with someone who saw me as a backup plan. I could not marry someone who chose someone else over me. My father had once told me, respect yourself first, son. If you do not, nobody else will. Those words echoed in my mind as I picked up my phone and typed out one final message. Sarah, I loved you. I would have spent my life with you. But you made your choice. You chose him over 3 years of us, over our future. I cannot be your backup plan. I deserve better than that. Please do not contact me again. I hit send, and then I blocked her number. I blocked her on every social media platform. I deleted her emails without reading them. It was the hardest thing I had ever done, but it was also the most important. Derek called me later that night. I told him what I had done. He said, I am proud of you, man. That took guts. And it did. It took every ounce of strength I had to walk away from someone I loved, but I knew it was the only way I could move forward. The following week, I threw myself into work. I volunteered for a new project at the company, something I had been hesitant to take on before because I was focused on the wedding. My boss, Amanda, noticed the change. Byron, you have been doing excellent work lately. Are you interested in leading the new app development team? It was the opportunity I had been waiting for. I said yes. Suddenly, I had something to focus on besides the pain. I started waking up early to go to the gym. Not because I was trying to get over Sarah, but because I wanted to take care of myself. I wanted to be strong again. I reconnected with old friends I had not seen in months. I accepted invitations to dinners and game nights. I started hiking alone on the weekends. At first, it felt strange to be on those trails without Sarah. We had hiked them together so many times. But eventually, I started to enjoy the solitude. I realized that I did not need someone else to make me whole. I was already whole. One Saturday, I drove out to Mount Hood and hiked to the summit. When I reached the top and looked out over the valley, I felt something I had not felt in weeks. Peace. Not happiness. Not yet. But peace. I was going to be okay. 2 months after the breakup, I moved into a new apartment. It was smaller than the one Sarah and I had planned to share, but it was mine. I decorated it the way I wanted with things I liked. No compromises. No discussions about whether the couch should be gray or blue. Just me making my space my own. At work, I got the promotion. My salary increased by 30%. I was leading a team of 4 engineers, and we were building something I was proud of. I met a guy named Tyler at the gym, and we started playing basketball on Saturday mornings. I was building a new life, one piece at a time. I was not looking for a relationship. I was not ready for that. But I was open to possibilities. I ran into a woman I had worked with on a project a year ago. Her name was Jessica. She was a project manager at a different tech company. We grabbed coffee one afternoon and ended up talking for 2 hours. It was easy. There was no pressure, no expectations. Just 2 people enjoying each other's company. She knew about Sarah. I had told her the basics. She did not push me to talk about it more than I wanted to. She just listened. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like maybe I could move on. Around that same time, I heard through a mutual friend that Sarah and Marcus had broken up. It had only lasted 3 weeks before he left her again, this time to go back to New York permanently. Sarah had tried to reach out to me through friends, asking if I would be willing to talk. I said no. I did not feel any satisfaction in knowing she was hurting. I just felt sad for her. Sad that she had thrown away something real for something that was never going to last. But I also knew that I had made the right choice in walking away. I could have taken her back. Part of me had wanted to. But I would have spent the rest of my life wondering if she truly chose me, or if she was just settling because Marcus did not work out. I deserved more than that. I deserved someone who chose me first, not as a backup. 6 months after Sarah left, I found myself sitting in a different coffee shop, one I had discovered on my own. I was sipping a cappuccino and working on my laptop. Life had changed so much. I was leading a successful team at work. The app we developed had just launched and was getting great reviews. My relationship with Jessica was progressing slowly, and I liked that. There was no rush, no pressure, just 2 people getting to know each other and seeing where things went. She understood that I needed time, and she respected that. My parents had come to visit the month before, and my father pulled me aside one evening. "Son, I am proud of you. You handled all of this with grace. That is real maturity." I did not feel particularly mature. I felt like I had just survived. But maybe that was enough. I used the money from selling the ring to invest in a retirement fund. It felt like the right thing to do, turning pain into something productive, something that would benefit my future. I even took a trip to Japan, something Sarah and I had always talked about doing together. But I went alone, and it was incredible. I wandered through Tokyo, hiked in the mountains near Kyoto, and ate ramen at tiny shops where no one spoke English. I learned that I could enjoy life on my own terms. I did not need someone else to make experiences meaningful. They were meaningful because I was there, because I was present. Looking back now, I do not regret the 3 years I spent with Sarah. They were not a waste. I learned how to love someone deeply. I learned how to build a life with another person. I learned what I wanted in a partner and what I would not tolerate. The pain was real, but so was the growth that came from it. I realized that not every love story ends in marriage, and that is okay. Some relationships are meant to teach us lessons, not last forever. And the lesson I learned from Sarah was invaluable. I learned that I cannot control other people's choices. I can only control my own. I also learned that closure does not come from the other person. It comes from within. I did not need Sarah to apologize or explain herself. I did not need her to validate my pain. I created my own closure by choosing to walk away, by choosing myself. I learned that self-respect is non-negotiable. No matter how much you love someone, you cannot let them treat you like an option. You have to be your own priority. And I learned that pain is temporary, but the strength you gain from it lasts forever. That night, when I sold the ring, I was not selling away the love I had felt. I was selling away the past so I could make room for the future. Most importantly, I learned that I am enough. I do not need anyone to complete me. I am a whole person on my own. And when the right person comes along, someone who chooses me every single day, without hesitation, it will not be because I need them to fill a void. It will be because two whole people decided they want to build something together. That is the kind of love I want. The kind where both people are there because they choose to be, not because they need to be. So if you are going through something similar right now, if someone has walked away from you or chosen someone else over you, I want you to remember this. You can cry for one night. You can grieve what you lost. You deserve that. But then you have to get up, sell the ring, block the number, delete the photos, do whatever you need to do to move forward. Choose yourself even when it hurts, even when every part of you wants to go back. Because the person who is meant for you will never make you their second choice. They will never leave you wondering if you are enough. They will choose you every single time without hesitation. And trust me, on the other side of that pain, there is a version of you waiting. A version who is stronger, wiser, and ready for something real. A version who knows their worth and will not settle for anything less. That version of you is worth fighting for. So fight for them. Fight for yourself. Because you deserve a love that is certain, not one that wavers when someone from the past shows up. You deserve someone who sees you and says, "This is the one." Not, "Let me see if my ex wants me back first." I still think about Sarah sometimes. I wonder if she ever found what she was looking for. I hope she did. I hope she is happy. But more than that, I hope I have learned enough from our story to never repeat those mistakes, to never settle, to never be someone's backup plan. And if you take anything away from my story, let it be this. Your worth is not determined by who stays or who leaves. It is determined by how you treat yourself after they are gone. And I chose to treat myself with the respect and love I deserved from the beginning. That choice changed everything. So I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where someone chose their ex over you, or where you had to walk away from someone you loved because they did not value you? Drop your story in the comments below. Let us support each other. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, because I share real stories about life, love, and growth. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it today. Someone who is struggling with heartbreak and needs a reminder that they are strong enough to walk away and build something better. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it was not easy, but I hope it gave you something to think about. Remember, you are worthy of a love that chooses you first. Do not settle for anything less. I wish you strength, peace, and the courage to choose yourself, no matter how hard it gets. Take care of yourselves out there. Until next time.